I never understood what separated a guy from being a man. I always heard the term going around, oh, he's a man. Yet it was such a vague concept for me to comprehend. It's only something I've learned through my own experience of what it means to be a man. There are, from my experience, only three main things that define a man being a man. And no, it's not necessarily being a provider. Because in today's day and age, women can provide too. And providing can come in different ways. Providing can be knowledge, providing can be money, providing can be a skill, and women can do all of those things. And if that is a thing what defines a man to be a man, then we have to take away the right of women to be able to do this. And taking away the rights of somebody else means that they are inhumane, and that turns them into prisoners. And we can't do that. So we have to look outside of the box and see what defines a man of really being a man. So these are the three things that for me define what it means to be a man. The first one is a man takes full responsibility for the decisions and the mistakes that he makes. A man doesn't blame somebody else for the decision that he has made. He understood that he is the one who actually decided to go follow a specific path. And when obstacles come, and when he fails, it is because of himself. Because he accepts that there was something in his decision making that wasn't good. Maybe he didn't think well of it. Maybe he did allow somebody else's opinion to influence him. But he still decided whether or not he was going to do that. And when he does make a mistake, he accepts it, and he then finds solutions to how he can avoid making that same mistake again. Like in the past, I used to blame my parents for everything that was going on in my life. They gave me advice, although that was good advice. It wasn't relevant to me, and I blindly took on their advice out of trust because I couldn't think for myself. And that was my mistake, that I wasn't properly allowing myself to be developed in this sense, that I didn't use my brain to think for myself and listen to my own desires of what is it that I need and what is it that I want and how can I get there, you know? And so there came a point where I started to analyze everything that I was doing, and I realized oh wait, where I want to go and the behaviors that I have, they don't match up. So something needs to change, and it's not the fault of my parents, it's my fault, you know? I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't take the time to sit down and to ask myself these questions. The second point of what makes a man is keeping your promise, keeping your word, because a lot of people actually rely on your word. I used to have a friend in the past, and he always said that he was going to be there for me. He said, I'm going to be on time. I'm going to make sure that we get the work done as artists. I'm going to get this done for us. I'm going to get this person into the studio, and I'm going to arrange this source of income so that we can then grow as artists. Every time that I met somebody who couldn't keep their promise, I lost respect for them. Naturally. It was not something that I thought of. It was just something that was obvious. Every time that my friends who made false promises to me said oh, I'm going to be on time. Oh, I'm going to wake up early. Oh, trust me, bro. I'm going to get this arranged. And when they didn't, I was like, bro, what the fuck? You just made the promise that you were going to do that. You swore on God. You swore on your life that you were going to get it done. And then they came up with excuses. And this exact phase that I'm giving you right now is the exact phase I was giving to them. Bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm lucky that I had a dad who was in my life and who gave me a representation of what being a man is, because my dad always kept his word. No matter if it brought him into a disadvantage, if he said he was going to do something, he did it. If he said he was going to do something today, he was, for example, he was going to paint the walls of my room, he did that. And I really respect my dad for that. And he never went back on his word. No matter if that brought him into a disadvantaged position, he still did it. He said, I'm going to do it, and he did it. And perhaps that is something that I took on myself. And thanks to having a dad that represents that, that's amazing. And from my own experience, every time when I said something that I couldn't keep my promise on, people just hated me. And I didn't understand at the time why that was. And it was over the course of a decade that I understood, also reading on what it means to be a man, that your promise means a lot for people. People rely on you. And if you can't keep a promise, there's a lot of people that you disappoint. And if you cannot keep your promise, then don't make them. Because just making a promise to feel good in the moment, that is not what a man does. A man doesn't make decisions that make him feel good in the moment. A man makes decisions that oftentimes bring him in a disadvantaged position in the current moment, but bring him in a better position in the future. When people can rely on you, they know that you can get things done. And you know yourself that you can get things done. And that will also help you to set boundaries, because it allows you to set a boundary for yourself whether or not you will do something. So don't say shit to randomly please people and to make you look good for the moment. At the end of the day, makeup is washed away when you wash your face. And the last one that I can share, the third one, is being truthful, because the truth will set you free. There's nothing more relieving to yourself and to other people, although sometimes the truth can be painful, to actually genuinely express what is on your mind and saying what needs to be said. And people will appreciate you for that. Sometimes I'm a bit direct, and I've oftentimes been called out on being direct. But saying the truth sometimes puts me in a disadvantaged position, but in the long term, I know that I've done the right thing. You know, it's the same thing as point 2, like with the makeup. Makeup is washed away. If you lie, you'll have to follow that up with a lie. And you continuously have to be living in a lie. And you will feel chained. And the number one thing that you strive for as a man is freedom. You want to have freedom of expression. You want to have freedom of thought. That's a human condition that you want to have. And if you start lying, then you take away that human condition that you desire deep down. Like when I had a leadership role in retail, I once lied about a mistake that I've made at my job, and it cost me my function. It cost me my role. I was fired. You know, I had to swallow the hard pill that lying wasn't going to be the solution. And perhaps if I told the truth in that moment, that the damage would have been less. And even if not, the fact that I lied to myself as well. And I told myself a lie, and I had a hard time overcoming it because of that. I had a hard time accepting what had happened simply because I couldn't tell myself the truth that I did make a huge mistake and that I did something that was below my baseline. I did something that I can't respect if somebody else did that to me. And at another point in my life, I had a relationship with someone that I didn't want to be with, and I had to lie every day that I loved her. I had to lie every day that I liked her. And she knew that I didn't because she felt that. But still, I kept lying, and she took the benefit of the doubt, and she was like, okay, maybe you're saying the truth, although it sounds fishy, because my behavior didn't align to my words. And it's actually really funny because that is something that I used to tell her, you should not listen to what somebody says. You should see what somebody does. And if his decisions do not align with his words, then you should not rely on that person, because that means that person is lying. And I was that guy whose decisions and whose actions didn't align to the words that he was saying. And so the moment that I then eventually broke up with her, I felt free. I felt relieved from pressure. I felt like I could finally live the life that I want to live and go down the path that I want to go, because living this lie that I was in made me indulge in drugs, like smoking a lot of weed, so that I could forget that I was in this position. And I specifically not wanted to meet up with her oftentimes because I knew that I had to be confronted with the truth, and I didn't want to accept the truth at the time. But the truth will set you free, and you have to go down that path. And these are the 3 main habits that you have to keep on living for religiously that will define you to be a man. Because normal guys don't do this. How many people do I meet who don't meet up to these 3 things? Many of them. A lot of people don't take responsibility for the decisions that they make. They blame other people for their loss in life. They blame other people that they can't do the things that they want to do. Oh, it's because I work this job and I don't have the time to do that. Yeah, but you put yourself in that position to work that job, and you have to work that job because of the decisions that you have made in your life. So what do you got to do? Find time within the day, sacrifice other things to get the work done. They then can't keep a promise. They tell you oh yeah, I'm going to show up on Saturday. I'm going to make sure that we get the work done. And then it's Saturday and they're still sleeping. And then they blame their work for the fact oh, I had to work overtime. And now I couldn't be here because, oh yeah, my dog peed on my carpet. So I had to clean that up as well. I'm sorry. What? What are you talking about? And then those same people fail to tell the truth. So this is why, from my experience, these are the 3 main things that define you to be a man. These are the foundations of becoming a man. You know, there's a lot more that goes into this, but these are the foundations. If you can do these 3 things, then you are on your trajectory on becoming a great man, because you want to be someone who takes responsibility for his decisions. You want to be someone who accepts his mistake. You want to be someone that when he says that he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And you want to be someone that even if telling the truth puts him in a disadvantaged position, he still says the truth. You don't want to lie. You don't want to be a liar. You don't want to fool other people. And you don't want to fool yourself either. And although you can be truthful to yourself, you're still being untruthful if you can't say the truth to somebody else about them. So remember that you are 100% responsible for the results in your life. Make the hard decision today, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Bye-bye.